Right, hey guys. Today I just want to talk about something a little bit unusual. I don't think I have a real conversation about these sort of things online because, of course, I don't really get anyone talking back to me. But at the same time, this I felt this was a topic that needed a little bit of highlighting, and whether or not anyone ever watches this, I just wanted to keep it out there because I think it's important that certain things be said, when the time demands for it. And while I sound a little bit philosophical, this is sort of something that's affecting everyone in the world right now. And you may think, what? So you mean the mobile games are affecting everyone in the world? Well, yes, because right now a cell phone has become sort of a necessity. It's really part of our lives, and a lot of businesses will not even let you work if you don't have a cell phone. And of course, there's third world countries and all that, but there's a lot of people who are evolving towards at least having a cell phone, even if they don't have a car, even if they don't have a house. They just need money for a cell phone, and they can get the jobs that they need to do a lot more. And the reason for that is because communication has become such an important thing in our lives. It's almost intruding into everything that we do, and it's absolutely horrible, if you ask me. My job revolves around me using my cell phone a lot of the time, and I find it extremely painful. But regardless, today I want to talk about the games that's found in the phone and how these games have a lot of other sort of, not to say hidden agenda, but they do have a certain lean in terms of what they are built for, what the industry wants from them, and what really they are there for in the market. And there was a time when games sold our information. They sold privacy, like information that you would otherwise not be able to just ask from someone. Like their browsing data, their cookies, information about what they are looking at, and all of these for the sake of marketing. And it was the easiest way for them to make money. And of course, you wouldn't get these consent from people normally, but by putting them in games and in privacy policies, a lot of people don't read them, but those who read them still are forced to accept it. Otherwise, you can't play some of the best games out there in the world. And all of these best games, in order for them to stay as the best games, they need a lot of money. And where does the money come from? A lot of it has to do with selling your information. Of course, there's a lot of other games out there that try their best not to sell your information, don't make so much money, so they try other means in terms of just forcing random ads to you, making you pay for the game, making you pay for monthly passes and all of that. But whatever it is, I understand they got to hustle, but the gaming industry has become very much a form of a market of, we gotta pop an ad in this person's face as soon as they've done the tutorial in a game, just so that we can sell them this package that they gotta pay for every month, and that way they can stay subscribed to us and we can make money like Netflix. That's essentially the idea every game right now is going for. And trust me, I looked for a lot of games online, and I've been specifically looking for mobile games that I could play while it's idle. And it's due to my busy schedule. But it's not just the fact that I was looking for idle games. I was looking for RPG games on mobile, and I decided, what, let's go on a quest and let's just dig up as many games as we could see, in the RPG and strategy, and recent, as well as all time, and top grossing and all these things. And I really dug up all of this information just to see, like, some sort of self research in a way, just to see what's really happening out there. And when you look at all of these in a cluster, you realize they all have the same agenda. Get you through the tutorial, make sure you're not a bot, and once they're sure you're a human being, they're going to pop an ad in your face, and that ad's going to tell you, pay for our monthly pass. That way we can make money and you can play the game for what it's actually meant to be. Because a lot of games, what they do is they limit you, they slow down your progress, and they frustrate you. And this is what games want you to pay for. They want you to pay so that you can play the actual game instead of go through the frustration of what the game is trying to cause. So they create the base of the game, and they build an idea around it. And once they got that idea that you like and they got you to it, now all they got to do is build a model on top of it on how exactly they're going to monetize it. And that monetization model doesn't come off the core of the game, it comes off things that are created to limit your gameplay. One of those things obviously is stamina. We all know what stamina does in every bloody game. And then there's premium currency for things that, would otherwise would take you time to grind. And it's fine to pay for your time. Like some certain games, they're designed around grinding. You gotta pay so that you can get this entire set of materials that otherwise you gotta grind for. But what are you doing when you're grinding really makes a big difference. And a lot of this came to my attention recently because I was playing ROX. And shortly after ROX, I went to Legend of Neverland because it came out right, shortly after ROX was released, and it did a lot of things better than Ragnarok X. Let me tell you that. The Legend of Neverland had so many features that ROX just didn't add, not because they were not able to, not because they didn't know how to. I'm pretty sure the developers of Ragnarok X, who thought of so many other things, would have thought of these things as well, but they decided, let's reduce these features. And the Legend of Neverland decided, let's release these features because there are other games that don't include these features. And what I mean by those features is the game literally plays itself until you get to like really high levels. And they make a lot of resources super easy for you to get so that you can get to a max level character in less than a week. But here's the thing, once you get to that max level character, they put that wall in front of you. And that wall, let me tell you, is not a free to play wall. That is a pay wall. And you may think that no, but I can play the game free to play. All I got to do is grind for 24 hours a week, or 24 hours in 2 days, meaning like 12 hours a day, or 8 hours a day, or 2 hours a day. But you see, what the game is making you do is it's making you repeat a set of the process of doing the same thing over and over again, which is no different from your work, or maybe even your chores. There's no difference, there's no sense of variety or sense of strategy or thinking involved. You're not improving in the game in any way because the game is just doing the same thing over and over again, just so that you can show off this new toy that you have in the game that's made out of graphics, 3D animated character that has no purpose whatsoever. And don't get me wrong, I understand if some people really like that. You like the grind, you like doing the same thing over and over again. But there's a lot of games that just tell you that you can either do this same thing 100 times or pay to do it once, and you're a winner. You won. Congratulations. But hey, think about it. That's pure evil. That's the easiest way to keep people, paying and hooked in the wrong way. And this brainwashing has come across a lot of games as the easiest way for them to create a format where they can make money, and they really push that. And it's no joke, I've seen it in a lot of these games that I've been just digging through. New games, alpha, 5-year-old games that have been around just a few months. It doesn't matter. They are all going through the same formula. And let me tell you, there's probably 1 in 100 of these games that's trying to stay sane, stay out of this focus. But it's difficult. It's really difficult. And let me just show you guys another thing. I dug up this article. This is from the Gamer. So this is written by Tanner Fox. It's published about 2 years back, and it says the rise of autoplay in mobile games. And it talks a lot about how autoplay in games work and how they're designed to help you to do certain things that would otherwise take your actual thinking, and certain things that you would much rather autoplay because it is repetitive. So what they're making you do is do the same thing over and over again just to grind. So look at it this way. If you're autoplaying something, it means the game has no point in having that. The only reason they want to create a game mode that you have to play over and over again is not because they can't create other ways, or the game is out of creativity or out of ideas. No, they want you to get used to autoplay so that you have to pay for things to speed up the game. And if you don't pay for things to speed up the game, you're going to overheat your phone, your device, or in my case, I'm using an emulator so I don't suffer so much from phone damage. But they're making you, for those people who are unfortunate, they don't have a computer, they have to play on their phone, their mobile device. And of course you want to check on these games every now and then, and you end up auto playing it at times. If you're not going to pay for the features to skip all these materials that you have to collect by auto playing, you're instead going to have to pay for a new phone. because all of this autoplay damages your your device. It damages, it overheats your device. It's going to reduce your battery life, and of course there's a lot of other problems that you can face, like RAM short circuits. You're going to probably have a corrupted CPU, but the most common thing is your battery damage, and batteries are becoming more and more difficult to replace in mobile phones. They're forcing you to purchase new phones, and they're making the battery prices extremely expensive because they know that that's where the market is. They know mobile games are designed to be in such a way that they drain your battery life, and you're forced to buy a new phone just so that you can get something that performs for even higher end games to continue draining your battery life. And that's what it's all about. It's become a market where they just want you to buy more phones and spend more money. And these games are helping the phone companies. It's either you pay for the game or you pay for your phone. You're still paying either way. There's no game that's actually being created just so that you could have fun, genuinely. And a lot of PC games can't follow this model, which is why PC games don't have autoplay. They don't have a lot of idle features. There are games that do, but it's very rare. It's an extremely rare thing. And autoplay is completely different from idling. Autoplay is not the same as an idle game, and an idle game is basically a game that's going to continue to run even if you're not looking at your screen. It's not running in your phone. So the servers of the game itself, the developers created servers that's going to be able to run a certain formula to just calculate how much you're going to earn, as resources over time, and then just display to you as a pop-up once you're back in the game. And some games do it 2 times, 3 times, and all these. There's special idle games that tell you if you watch an ad, you're going to can collect 2 times your resources. If you watch an ad, you're going to collect 3 times, 4 times resources. All these things, and that's way for them to push ads and whatever. But I think pushing an ad to you to look at a like a 30-second ad for hours and hours that you can't play the game because you're too busy with other things is not as bad as a game that's just going to autoplay for you to drain your battery life or force you to pay for materials. It's a completely different thing. Idle games, I think, are here to stay. They are doing well. They have their own niche little place in the world for people who are too busy, people who just can't seem to find the time to do certain things. But autoplay games, man, these are the cancer of mobile gaming right now. And I used to think that games like what do you call this? Certain uh, like King of the Hill. What do you call that? Battle Royale games were just they're not my thing, quite frankly. Battle Royale games are not my thing. But it's not that I have anything against them in particular. It's just not my style of play because I like to play more of a co-op thing. But regardless, I feel that battle royale games are actually a lot more genuine and honest in the way they're portraying their games, because their game's objective is simple. You're actually improving yourself by playing against other players. Sure, they may force you to buy certain things to improve yourself so you can improve in PvP, and you can win sometimes if you pay for certain materials. But there are also games that they don't care. They give everyone equal opportunity. Everyone gets the same weapons. You just gotta farm your way up by winning games or losing games. It doesn't matter. You're gonna keep improving, and I feel that that formula is the most genuine formula in terms of someone who wants to provide you an actual game that's there for you to have fun with, rather than a game for them to just force you into buying their package just to stay relevant in the game so that you can keep up with every other player who's going to be miles and leagues ahead of you in terms of just the sheer difference of how much a paid player can earn, in terms of materials in the game. And let me tell you that this is, it's quite clearly not just creating a divergence between the poor and the rich. Like there's a lot of people who just don't want to pay for games because they quite frankly rather spend their money in other things. But there's also people who don't really have many other things, so they feel that the game is probably the only thing that gives them happiness, so they want to spend for it. That's fine. But there's also the people who really can't afford to pay for certain packages because they're insanely expensive, and they got to do this over and over again every month so that they can keep up with other players, even if these people who can't pay are actually better. Even if they're actually better at the game. Like if you were to give them like full resources, like Clash Royale does this. Clash Royale has a game mode where what do you call this? It allows you to even the level between the cards in the game so that you can play in a friendly battle. And when you do that, you can clearly see that once the levels are equal, the gameplay is not the same anymore. Players who don't really have high level cards could win. They can shine. They could even strike a chance because they may not know the timing of high level cards, but regardless, they're just better players. They can think better, think faster, and they can achieve that without spending whatever you spent to get your characters to max level and all these sorts of things. And that's what I really like about games that give you these equal opportunities. And one of the games that in PC especially in terms of PvP that always gave this opportunity was Counter Strike. I think Dota, one of the best, of course. And I play Guild Wars 2 as an MMORPG. I feel Guild Wars 2 is also one of those games that, in PvP especially, they standardize all the gear. So your stats and attributes for gear is the same regardless of how much you've paid for your gear and stuff like that. So once you come to that equal terms, you realize that there's going to be a kind of a skill gap because it's not really how you gear yourself anymore. It's more so how you build your strategy, your stats, I mean, not your stats, your skills, your what do you call this, passives, and all these kinds of formulas that actually force you to actually play the game by thinking, strategizing, and all these sorts of things. So yeah, I mean, I just wanted to point all this out because I feel that the autoplay games should not be something that we should support. And I'm not saying that oh, I'm calling for a revolt or anything like that. No, if you guys like autoplay games, just go ahead. I'm not gonna stop you in anything like that. uh, but I feel that these things are really bad. Like, these are the cancers of mobile games. These features are what stop people from thinking and just get them to pay. That's all they care about. Skip the grind. That's literally all they're focused on. And they just want you to just run autoplay 2 times, you pay more, 4 times, you pay even more. Well, skip 100 times because you're 200 floors ahead of everyone else now because you've paid. You don't have to play the game, just pay the game and you're there. And yeah, it's just something I wanted to rant about. I'm sorry I pulled you guys into this. So I mean, yeah, just don't get caught up in all this nonsense. And by the way, I've played through a lot of these games, at least to level 10s or whatever, way past the tutorial. And after the tutorial, at least to try to clear a few stages just to see how these games are. And I'll be sure to probably come back with another video to review one or two decent games. But let me tell you, I've stopped ROX because the game has nothing left to offer. It's just a grind. It's going to repeat itself until you go to a higher level. And Legend of Neverland has done the same thing. It does a lot of things better than ROX in terms of its quality of life features. It is way better than ROX, but because Ragnarok has a name that's more familiar with people, people tend to flit towards ROX. But no, Legend of Neverland is still a better built game. It's just that it has a lot of other sorts of bugs and problems that hasn't been fixed, and it has a lot of pay to win models as well that's not very encouraging. And then of course there's a few others that I tried. Tour of Neverland is so and Hero Avengers is okay. It also has certain autoplay features that I'm not really a fan of, but it's still okay. I feel that one of the better sort of uh, building, like team building RPG games was Arcana Tactics. It's one of the better ones. Problem with Arcana Tactics is that they're just out of content. But the gameplay and the design of the game is really really good. Super free to play. You can pay and skip nothing because you essentially have like a story mode that you have to play through. So you can build yourself as you play through it. So you don't need any money to skip the game. Alchemy Stars, I have not really gone through, so I will hold on to that for a bit. Epic Conquest 2 was okay for a bit, not really my cup of tea. Cell to Singularity was amazing, but you really gotta pay for this game. There's a free version that you can play, but it's gonna bombard you with ads. My suggestion is just buy the game. It's not very expensive if you really want to have fun. It's a really good game. I'm not gonna lie. It's a pretty decent game. God Simulator is also a pretty decent game if you're into simulation games. God Simulator is a pretty good one. It's something like the the Plague Inc. Something like Plague Inc. But a sort of an atheist version. I know it's called God Simulator, but it's like atheists playing with religions and stuff. It's pretty cool. And then I think Hidden Realms seems pretty nice. I've just started it, haven't really gone through too much. And yeah, so I will just grind my way through this and then get back to you guys and have something nice to say about these games. But seriously, I mean, stop it with the autoplay games. Just don't let people have fun playing a game that's actually making them have fun by thinking, by competing, by being cool and having something to actually show at the end of the day. And if you want to idle it and show that you have the greatest character by having the game installed, I mean, by having the game just be in your phone, fine. You can just build an idle feature, but showing that you have the best character by draining your battery life is not the best way to go. Or because you have a bigger wallet, you have a better character, or you have a better built team, I think is the cancer of gaming. Gaming was supposed to be beyond that. It was supposed to be not the not the business that drains your money, but it's becoming that, and I'm really worried about it. And I hope all these things will be flushed out as time goes on. People realize whatever's happening. But there's a lot of children, especially nowadays, who are getting involved with this. And I'm not too old actually to talk about kids, but old enough, I suppose. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.